Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our webinar. It's 2 o'clock right now, but we're going to give everyone a minute or so longer to join in. So just bear with us for a second and we will begin shortly. All right, again, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining 888 VoIP and Vodia for today's Introduction to Vodia webinar. I'm Danielle, and I'm the Marketing Director over at 888, and we're just going to start by going over a few housekeeping items. If you have a question at any point throughout the webinar, please use the Questions tab of your control panel and send us your question. Your line will remain muted the entire webinar. So at the conclusion of our deck, we will be answering your questions. If at any point something sparks your interest and you'd like to have an in-depth discussion with us regarding Vodia, we will be sending a follow-up email with contact information for you to go ahead and schedule one. That follow-up email will also contain a link to the recording of this webinar. And if you would like the deck as well, please just reach out to us. It's marketing@888voip.com, and I would be more than happy to send you a PDF of the deck. So before we dive into discussing Vodia, let me just start with a brief overview of 888 VoIP and who we are. So just a little bit about 888 VoIP. Since 2006, we have been a top value-added distributor of industry-leading VoIP hardware and software solutions. But what really sets us apart from other distributors is our vast offering of value-added services, which fall under the umbrella of our Channel Advantage program. This program offers our managed partners access to a whole slew of different services, which include customizable provisioning packages, advanced API, pre- and post-sales support, technical support, branded marketing collateral, inventory management, and really the list goes on from there. So 888 really strives to identify what customers specifically need, and then we use our team to deliver a tailored solution for you that's really going to help you. So we're not just focused on the sales piece. We really want to fully assist our partners with any back-end processes that are going to make their lives easier and really help accelerate their business. So, which is why we added a lot to our business structure, model, and portfolio in 2018. So in case you missed it, over the past year, there were a lot of big developments over here at 888 VoIP, which included the addition of our new Reno, Nevada distribution facility. There was just a growing demand for West Coast fulfillment and support. So we added this new facility and we were able to triple our warehouse space, add additional West Coast sales and support personnel, and help our customers reach 85% of West Coast markets with 1 to 2 day shipping. That expansion is really going to be critical to ensuring that our partners can tap into West Coast opportunities and fulfill the needs of any already existing West customers. So the facilities expansion was not the only thing we had going on last year. We are hosting a Vodia webinar. So the addition of Vodia to our manufacturer portfolio was also one of our biggest announcements of 2018. We are now a Vodia distribution partner, and we even got to feature Vodia last month in our booth at IT Expo. We also distribute an array of Vodia compatible manufacturers. You see some listed up on the screen right now. They include Cisco, Polycom, Grandstream, and more. So if at all you are interested in learning about what we offer from Vodia or how we can help with Vodia distribution, you can send our team an email at sales@888voip.com, or alternatively, you can directly email one of our national account execs, John Zader. His email is up there on the screen as well, or you can give us a call at 888-864-7786. So at this time, we are going to segue into the Vodia portion of our presentation, and I'm going to hand it over to Eric Altman, who is a sales engineer over at Vodia.
Thank you, Danielle. Hi, everybody. So we're going to go through some slides here, give you a little introduction to Vodia. Just want to tell you right up front, I mean, what we're showing you today is a small subset of some of the things that this PBX offers, but we wanted you to at least whet your appetite with some of the great features and things that we have here at Vodia. So just a little bit about it. Some of you may recognize some of these names. I mean, we were PBX and SIP back in 2006, doing hosted back then, probably a little ahead of our time. But the world has caught up. We were also SNOM 1, and then since 2012 have been Vodia. And we're providing the latest cloud, on-premises IP PBX technology. We are privately owned. We're a US-based company, and we're headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts. So what is Vodia PBX? It's a web-based software PBX. It works and integrates with all the popular SIP phones and SIP trunk providers. We do support both single-tenant and multi-tenant deployments, and we'll be talking a little bit further about that as we go through the slides. We have our own API integration, multi-platform. In other words, we can load this on Windows or Linux, even Mac potentially. We do on-premises or cloud, so you as a reseller have the option to do on-premises and cloud or cloud, either way. It's secure, reliable, built by us. Showing you here just some of the other phones that we integrate with, as well as the hosted platforms. So anything SIP we're going to work with. And here's just a slide showing some of our technology partners, mainly the phones, the IP phones, the soft phones, things like that. Again, small subset of some of the others that we work with as well. So let's talk about the single tenant side of this. So CPE, customer premises equipment licenses, are available in different editions. We have 3 editions, the standard, the pro, and the enterprise. And each edition is available with starting at 4 concurrent calls all the way up to 1,024 simultaneous calls. And just in case anyone has questions about what constitutes a simultaneous call, an inbound call, outbound call, as well as internal calls from extension to extension are all going to count as simultaneous calls. The nicest thing about this model, I think, or at least one of the nicest things, is unlimited extensions. So we're not talking about billing by extensions anymore. We're billing by concurrent calls. So if you add some more people, you don't have to change the license out as long as you're not going over that simultaneous call limit. Automatic recording is in the Enterprise Edition. In the Pro Edition, we do manual recording as well. These all come with LAN provisioning. There is a session border controller built in on all versions. So that's actually built into the PBX. Easy to upgrade licensing. Our support is all here in the US. Like we mentioned, Linux or Windows, cloud or premises. I mean, as far as single tenant goes, it could be in the cloud, whereas multi-tenant's going to always be in the cloud. But for the CPE side, we can do single tenant here as well. So the multi-tenant edition has all the telco features of legacy PBX, a modern touch, built-in billing, managed voice features, all rolled up into the one executable. Works again with all major SIP phones and SIP trunks, the highest level of protection. Some bullet points we've got here. We do integrate with Stripe billing. So as far as billing for the PBX, you can use Stripe. DNS Made Easy and Let's Encrypt APIs are in there. So that's going to allow you to create domain names that will be fully qualified, as well as Let's Encrypt can create the certificate for those as well. We've got speech to text, Google API, DID management all in one place for the domains. You can assign DIDs to the domain and to the extensions. And then probably the biggest point here, 1 core, 1 server, 1 instance. So we're talking 1 instance of the PBX to do multi-tenant, different than some of our competition where you have to create a separate instance each time you want to do another tenant. Here, it's 1 PBX, and you go in, you create another domain, and you can create multiple domains on that 1 instance of the PBX. Voice encryption, WebRTC, we're going to talk a little bit about. Vodia API, allowing you to, on the fly, automatically create domains and users. We do support RPS provisioning of phones, fast deployments. Like I mentioned earlier, you got an integrated session border controller, We also work with the 911 bandwidth API, which allows a location to be assigned to each number. We're Google friendly. We do SMS and MMS notifications, voicemail notifications. So if you get a voicemail, you can get a text letting you know about it, as well as the automatic recording with the multi-tenant edition. That is an enterprise edition. So you're going to have all the features if you're doing multi-tenant hosted. SIP trunks, that's the de facto PSTN termination today. So everything's going to SIP trunks. If you're not there yet, you will be there soon. The PBX can have multiple trunks, depending on the license. Standard license would just have the one, but the others can have multiple trunks. And flexible setup, you know, there's many ways to describe the headers. There's some predefined vendors set up, different number interpretations. I mean, plug and play is possible here. There's actually a drop-down list right in the administrator where you can pick the trunks that you're using, put in the username and password, and you're pretty much set up in seconds, ready to go. And support for SIP, TLS, SRTP, RTCP, XR. So again, always about the security and high-end security on the Vodia system. Provisioning, true zero-touch LAN provisioning, as well as cloud provisioning. RPS and SRPS integration, so that's one way to provision things as well. But you've got LAN discovery through multicast packets. Basically, you're going into that one page, you'll see all the phones that are there, and click a setup button and assign an extension, and you're pretty much provisioned and ready to go. One of the key things that we do as well that I don't believe a lot of our competition is doing, or they're not doing it as well as us, is the buttons. So you're able to provision different buttons. You can have actual templates built for certain phone models. So definition for all supported phones, completely manageable through the web interface, large number of supported modes there, and you know, available buttons and button modes. It's on the fly generation of config files. So all the things you would expect anyway, but that zero touch provisioning, being able to just click setup, and you'll see all the phones there and set them up one by one. Simple and quick. Integrations. So integrations with CRM packages, that's kind of the top of the iceberg, guys. I mean, there's going to be integrations with all different kinds of things going forward, and Vodia is set up with that. Currently, we have a deep integration with Salesforce, where the WebRTC actually runs inside the Salesforce tab, so you don't need an external soft phone. You can make all your calls from within there as well. That does require the advanced Salesforce contract, but if you've got that, then you're all set. We've got integration with HubSpot and Zoho. And again, these integrations are based on a JavaScript backend, so further integrations just become easier, as well as existing integrations can be changed on the fly. So, we can work with those all based on the JavaScript backend. We also have an Infor integration for hospitality, which is based on Fias, and the FreshBooks integrations for the hosted PBX for billing as well. So lots of integrations now, and many more to come. Softphones are taking the next step. I mean, always on an Android and iPhone, where the networks will allow you ultimate mobility. It is today a serious alternative to VoIP desktop phones. So people can use just the soft phone. As far as the soft phones, we support and have tight integrations with Counterpath, which is available across a large range of devices. We have an API integration with the Counterpath Strata. And then Zoiper as well, easy installation from the App Store, and the PBX will actually send an invitation email with a QR code. So just scan that QR code and you're in and you're ready to go and make and receive calls. There's also the voice operator panel. We actually, if you look at our inventory of webinars, we did do a webinar on our integration with the voice operator panel as well. And there the focus is a little bit more on the switchboard or call center agents, but a great interface. It shows calls, it makes dispatch easy, and does have the built-in soft phone as well. WebRTC, web browser conquers the IT world. So this serves as a soft phone replacement. This is just using your browser to make and receive calls. You don't need to install any additional software. Do incoming and outgoing calls. This is not just for conference calling. This can be for all of your calls. So the WebRTC is built right in there, and you can make as well as receive calls using WebRTC completely as a replacement, again, even for the for your VoIP desk phone. It works on Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge. The original WebRTC server that we came out with is still inside the PBX. We have support for Acme and Let's Encrypt. And the Android app itself, our mobile app, is based on this. So you can do the WebRTC right there through your cell phone using the Android app. Speaking of cell phones, cell phone integration. I mean, cell phone is a total reality in the business world right now. Excuse me. So people are using their cell phones, again, in place of soft phones, in place of the hard desk phones. Sometimes, though, employees are hesitant to give out their private cell phone number. They don't want that out there for everybody. So the PBX can route the inbound calls to cell phones. If you're low call volume, you can certainly use just your cell phone. Callers aren't really going to know the difference. And it works with direct calls, hunt groups, and even ACD. So inbound calls can be sent to your cell phone, your direct calls. Also, if you're part of a hunt group or an ACD group, you can get those calls on your cell phone as well. And you can use it for outbound calls. And when you do make the outbound call, it's going to present the office caller ID. So as far as anybody knows, you're calling right from the office. By doing it through the PBX, excuse me, you're avoiding that money for, say, an international call, because it's going to go through the PBX, not through your cell. And that's going to reduce QoS issues. If your mobile data is flaky, you can just use your cell phone, and that can be your perfect office phone. Oops. All right, the session border control, I've mentioned this once or twice. So that is built right into the PBX. It's been part of the PBX since 2005, and it works for near-end and far-end NAT traversal, eliminating the cost for a special separate router. It's built right into the PBX. It'll support multiple IPv4 and IPv6 addresses, and it makes that mix on the LAN, WAN, VLAN, VPN all possible. With IPv4 to IPv6 calls are no problem with this SVC. It's integrated with the provisioning module of the PBX, and it reports to the admin front end, can even send out emails, and becomes an automatic denial of service defense as well. Agent groups, or call queue. So Vodia supports call center features, call queue, switchboard, position announcement, which allows the callers to know where they are in the queue, and also giving them the option to either stay on the line waiting for their turn, or they can activate a callback, which will be initiated by the PBX. When an agent's free, excuse me, it'll go ahead and place that outbound call as well. Excuse me. So you have the position announcement, you'll have statistics, so full statistics that can be viewed through the user portal, web-based switchboards. You can redirect calls, so if the queue is going to take too long, the call can be redirected. Like I mentioned, the callback feature, virtual office support. You've got your hold prompts with your message and music cycle going back and forth. We even support an outbound calling campaign where the PBX can actually pull numbers from a list and present them to available agents. We've got login and logout button configuration, and we could do local call recording as well as SIP rack. So all that's supported. You know, some could look at it as light ACD, but it really does have all the features that an agent group's going to need. And we've got some large call centers out there using this agent group functionality. And then a lighter version of ACD is going to be a hunt group or a ring group. And that's just a set of extensions embedded inside a single virtual extension. And the incoming calls are going to be rotated through that pool of extension until someone answers and the call's connected. Again, cell phones can be part of this, included in a hunt group call. You've got 3 stages that you can set up. Custom ringtone, so you know it's a hunt group call. Can display the group name caller ID. Going to send you daily reports. And there's a night service feature, so at night, things can be done differently through our service flags. We can set it up so that the call is answered differently or sent to different extensions at different times. Hardware, so a couple of pieces of hardware here, one coming soon, one that's out already, the Vodia IO, not available in the US yet, but this is a device that contains a router, DSL, fiber, Wi-Fi, decked phones, the PBX itself, Bluetooth, and many other features. This is going to address shops, restaurants, lawyers, small offices who don't need multiple devices or shouldn't have to get multiple devices when you can have all of that in one device as well as your phone system and PBX right there. Most of the connected phones will be decked, but other phones can be connected to this as well, obviously, SIP phones, even through ATA's analog phones. This is available in Europe and APAC. It's not going to be in the US before spring, getting close to spring now. So, it's a few months out that this should be available as well. But something that we're real excited about is the Vodia IOP, and that is out now. And this is a device that only contains the PBX, connects through Ethernet. It can run any of the CPE licenses. It's good for 16 simultaneous calls, or if you're using recording, 8 calls. It's got a 64 gig industrial SD card, makes thousands of hours of recording possible. And this is retail priced at $199 today. And again, it is available today through 888 VoIP. You can order your IOPs. This is something that can be placed right underneath a desk, can be placed on the wall. You can see the corners have mounting places to mount it. So a nice small device. It's got everything that one would need in a PBX. It's the full PBX, no bigger than a deck of cards. And we are doing a IOP giveaway today. So 3 of you out there, 3 lucky people are going to be receiving a free Vodia IOP. If you go to our website, there is a getting started guide on the IOP as well. So you can plug that thing in and get started. It is pre-licensed with a standard 4 concurrent call license already on board and ready to go. This thing's just ready for phones and trunks, and you got yourself a free phone system. So we'll be announcing that afterwards and sending out to 3 lucky winners. And that's what I got for you here today. Like I said, consider this a small subset of some of the other things we have. Hopefully enough to whet your appetite to see more and talk more about it. You can reach us at sales@vodia.com. Feel free to send us an email if you have any questions at all, and obviously continue to work with 888 VoIP to fulfill any purchases that you'd like to make. And I think at this point, hopefully I haven't gone too fast, but got through those slides, and I'm going to open it up for any questions that you have. Like Danielle mentioned, you can type those in on that sidebar.
And Eric, we do have one question. Oh, now we have a second one. So if we want to start with those, I'll just read them off to you. If you want to give an answer to it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so here we have one from Seth. What mail server ports are supported for welcome letters and email notifications in general? This gentleman says we tried using Office 365 and port 58.7 TLS, and this didn't work properly. It seems that the default port 25 or secure 46.5 SSL are the only options from what we can tell.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting the experts behind me here to give me the answer. Give me one sec. All right, so I think the best way to handle something like that is we're happy to do a remote login or just so we can see that system, see what's potentially going on. Please reach out to us. You can send an email to support@vodia.com. We can set up a session so that we can actually look in there and make sure all the settings are correct. This will probably take a little while to go through a definitive answer on a platform like this. But please, follow through with that. Give us either a call at 617-446-1399 and hit option 2 for support, or you can just send an email straight to support@vodia.com and we'll help you out there.
All right, now we have a question from Eric. How difficult is it to migrate from 3CX boxes over to Vodia?
We actually have a CSV option, so that all that can be loaded into CSV and imported into Vodia. It's the snap. That's something we're prepared for, and we realize that we've got a fair amount of people doing that. So we do have a CSV set up for import.
All right, from Ian, can these devices support analog lines?
Yeah, I mean, we can support analog just like others would do it through a ATA device. So if that's set up, then we can support the analog device right through that.
All right. From Isaac, is there key system emulation like GNOME 1 had?
Yes, there is, but we do it with the park orbits now. So parking calls and being able to pick up the park calls and emulate the traditional.
All right, Brian has a question about the IOP. Do you need an SBC for SIP trunks on the IOP, or is it built in?
It's built in. Yeah, you don't need an SBC, no matter how you're doing the PBX, whether it's hosted, whether it's a CPE server or the IOP, the SBC has been in there for 15 years and it is there, so no separate session border controller is required.
All right, so Nathan wants to know, how does multi-tenant licensing work? Does each tenant use individual licensing, or does it utilize shared call licensing?
That's actually individual. Hosted licensing is going to be by the extension. So it's built by the extension, unlike the CPE, which is the concurrent calls. And no plans to change that.
Our next question is, callcentric.com a supported SIP trunk carrier?
Sorry, what was the question about callcentric?
Is callcentric supported SIP trunk?
Oh yeah,
carrier?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the ones on the drop-down list in the admin that can be chosen.
Can the multi-tenant be white labeled?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let's see for another one. All right. Does your platform support sending faxes out via your app, or is an ATA still required for the fax machine?
So not with the sending. We can receive faxes and those can be sent to email, but there's nothing in the PBX for sending faxes currently.
Okay. Is Yealink phones, is that one that works on the system?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yep. Very, very tight integration with Yealink.
Great. All right. What about multi-branch setup? Can I have a system at each branch but connected together?
Yeah, absolutely. That's connected via SIP, sure.
Is call recording standard on the IOP?
So it's not, I mean, call recording comes with the professional, so there's standard, professional, and enterprise. So it's, when you get the IOP and take it out of the box, that's a standard license, which does not support call recording, but that can be upgraded to a pro or an enterprise. Pro is going to support manual recording, and an enterprise would support manual as well as automatic recording.
Are there any plans coming up to integrate with Microsoft Teams?
Not currently, no, not currently.
Is the system based on Asterisk?
No. Sorry, that was a quick no, but no, it's
I like
built
that,
from
yeah.
the ground up. From the ground up, our own code. There's no external Asterisk libraries involved here.
All right. Now I have somebody here asking, is there an admin manual available? Not sure.
An admin manual, did you say?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean we have printed manuals as well as online manuals.
Is there IAX support?
Yes.
We have one more. So please feel free to still send in your questions. We do have a little bit more time. Is there an annual license fee or a one-time fee?
Depends what you're talking about, whether you're talking about, hosted or CPE. Because with the CPE, we do have a couple of different ways of doing that, where it can be an annual fee, which is paid every year, but you can also do permanent licensing where you just pay the one fee, and then you can continue with maintenance and subscription after the first year, if you prefer, by paying a small fee to keep that updated and keep support going. So yes, we do have that type of licensing. That is an option with CPE.
All right. And can I have two systems running together to provide instant failover?
Yes, we can do. Yeah, we can do a warm standby so that it's not automatic, but you can have something backed up and ready to go with the latest, information on there, and switch over to that one if need be.
All right, so we don't have any more questions right now, so we'll give another minute or so. If you have any last minute questions, please feel free to send them in the questions tab in your control panel. If not, Eric did have up on the screen the sales@vodia.com email address. He also mentioned before, if you have any questions, you can email directly to support@vodia.com. All right, and yes, the PowerPoint will be available, and we will also send this recording in our follow-up email. Here we have another question. If the phone has a camera, can Vodia support a video conference?
So I believe we can do peer-to-peer, but not necessarily a conference with others that don't have that supported phone. So we can do a one-to-one type of video.
How does product support work?
We have support that can be reached by phone, by email, even SMS, even text. And again, that's all US-based support, 24/7. Our guys don't like that so much, but but they're always on call and available. Always someone will be.
So when doing multi-tenant, Eric, do they have to use their own server, or does Vodia have servers available?
That's their choice. You can do self-hosted, or we can host it for you. It's going to cost a drop more if we host it for you, so some people will prefer to do it themselves. But if you don't want to get into the whole hosting thing or haven't yet, we're happy to host that for you for a slightly larger price.
All right, great. And we have one more question, and then we'll probably wrap it up after there. And you can get in touch with Eric Vodia, 888-VoIP. John Zader over at 888-VoIP, who's our in-house Vodia expert. And again, his email is jzader@888voip.com. His contact information will be available in the follow-up. And our last question for the day is, has the IOP been tested running off pure LTE connection?
Your hat's stumping us with the last question. I'm not sure that it's been formally tested, so I'll say that as the honest answer.
Well, anyway, so that if you have any additional questions or we see any come in, we will get in touch with you one-on-one to answer those. So don't think we forgot about you. And thanks again for joining us for our Vodia webinar today. 888-VoIP and Vodia will be hosting another webinar regarding provisioning in March. So please be on the lookout for an email about that so that you can also register for that one as well. And we will be in touch with the 3 winners of the IOP devices after the conclusion of this webinar. So again, thank you so much. We'll get in touch with you regarding any additional questions that just rolled in. And yeah, we hope to see you on that March webinar.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Danielle.